one of the guys that we were standing next to in line at aquarium who was running with us, he just starts yelling like, "Fuck, man! I like you gotta help me! You gotta help me! I just got shot."
Welcome to the Viral Watch podcast, the most controversial podcast on the internet. I'm interviewing CR, who was literally 15 feet away during the shooting in Austin 2 weeks ago. Give us your side of the story on that, man.
Yeah, so I was downtown with a few buddies of mine. Some of them were coming in town from Houston, so I decided I was gonna show them a good time. I took them down to West Sixth, and we were kind of just having a good time down there. And we wanted to like pick the night up a bit though. Um, it was getting a bit later, and we still weren't really set on one place to stay, so we got an Uber down to Dirty Sixth, as many people call it. And this is a place that we've all been to many times, and I've seen high schoolers out there, all sorts of shit. And we get there, and we're walking down the street, and we realize that like there's a biker rally in town. So we see all these like really nice bikes, probably a couple of bikes that were in the range of $200,000. So some of the nicest bikes in the world. And we're walking down the street, and I was talking to my friend like, man, like the cops don't give a shit about anybody's fake ID or anything tonight. Like they have such bigger fish to fry. Like this is kind of chaos. And so we're walking down, loud engines revving the entire time, and we go to get in line at aquarium, which is a place that we've all been to close to 100 times probably. And we get in line for about 30 seconds to a minute, and all of a sudden we start to hear pop 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 pop, and we weren't sure if it was a gunshot at first because there were all of these really loud motorcycle engines. And so but then everybody starts to scream and then run. So just pure instinct took over, and I started running. And it's funny because there was a cop that was probably like 5 feet in front of me, and he starts running too. And then he takes like 5-10 steps, and then he realizes, and he like stops, hesitates, go for his gun. And I think he realized that he was a cop. But we kept sprinting past him. And then when we got about a block and a half away, one of the guys that we were standing next to in line at aquarium who was running with us, he just starts yelling like, "Fuck, man! I like you gotta help me! You gotta help me! I just got shot. Call 911." And I was like, "Holy shit, man! You just got shot? Where the fuck did you just get shot?" And I look down, and I just see a hole like straight through his ankle, and it was something that I was not planning on seeing. And so we called him an ambulance, and we waited there. And then the firemen were like, their station was literally right there, so they came out. And we like hollered at them and to like come get this guy who was just laying there, and he lost his friend, so we were the only ones there helping him. And so the firemen come out and get him, and they like start to help him and everything. So at this point we start to walk away. And honestly, this point was close to scarier than the shooting itself, because we weren't really sure if the shooting was still going on or not, because like there were a bunch of people that were running away from it, but then there were also a bunch of people that were running toward it as if they were almost excited or giddy that like a shooting was happening, which was really scary. And like people were asking like who got shot, and like or who was shooting, like they wanted to do something about it. And so we just start going away. And one of the girls was just like screaming her head off. She was crying a lot, and I was at this point pretty nervous, like not necessarily scared because I was I was running on so much adrenaline. I kind of had like a nervous laughter to me almost, as in like I didn't really know what happened. I was kind of in survival mode or whatever it was. But then we all go our separate ways. After we get in the Uber and then we get back and we're all pretty quiet the whole way, just kind of like wow that happened. And we got back and we went our separate ways. And I couldn't really sleep too much this night.
Yeah, no, I would definitely be scared. I probably, like you said, you didn't sleep. I wouldn't sleep. Like I'd be scared.
Yeah,
Like I'd be watching my back every
yeah.
minute.
I took the next day off work. I was just like, holy shit, that just happened. It was. I'm still. I think it's still gonna have some ripple effects for a little while, but I mean, I'm just grateful that nothing happened to me. And yeah, I think that it was definitely maybe it was a blessing in disguise. I think it's too early to know, um, but definitely something that'll make you pull your pants up.
Yeah, and these were just kids.
Yeah,
These
they
were
really
like
were.
they were like 17, 16, 17.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't see the shooter because they were right behind me, but the girl that I was with, she did, and she said that he just like had a backpack around his front, and he just like pulled something out like this, and then kept the gun really close to his backpack and just started like shooting. Pretty scary.
Damn,
Very sad.
did they catch the shooter? Because I saw that they let one of the guys go. He was the wrong suspect, and then they were looking for the other suspect.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I think that if I don't know if they caught him, but like from the vibe that was down there, I've seen a lot of scary people, but never so many scary people just in like one place in one gathering. Um, and it seemed like there was just commotion going on all over where like people were kind of yelling, shouting, and it seemed like it was different biker gangs from like all over kind of meeting in one place. So it was kind of just like a pot that was about to boil with all these different ingredients in it. Um, and I think that that's what happened. And none of the EMSs could get in because there were so many bikes there. Like there were thousands there. Um, so it was just really hard to know what was going on. And I'm sure I doubt that anybody could have gotten it on camera because it was just a massive crowd of people and just so many different exits and just so many different things going on that it would be really hard to, you know, pin something down on one person because it was just absolute chaos. Or at least that's from my perspective. I'm sure that the police officers can do much more than the average guy or even groups of people. But it's definitely something that to think about. I hope that they get the right suspect because he did a horrible thing. That guy was just visiting from New York. He was an engineer from Michigan, which is not an easy degree. We need those people uh, to carry us into the next chapter of history, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
people. You don't want people to be scared to come to Austin because I mean that's gonna definitely
yeah,
affect like the economy for sure.
yeah. And I actually talked to a police officer after the incident, um, and he was like don't be going down there, like that's not safe, like it's super dangerous, like I because the night after that or something, like a guy got stabbed down there, and then the night after, like after the shooting, the same night, I think three other people were shot and killed in East Austin. It's just sad. It's just horrible, and the crime rate has risen so much. The amount of murders that we've had in the past year has gone up in Austin, and yeah, and but I wanted to like say to the cop, like that place is supposed to be safe. Like it used to be reasonably safe. You like that wasn't really something that you had to think about going in there. Like you don't have to think about getting shot. But I guess that's just the new norm of the American culture is that in the back of your head, which is pretty sad.
Yeah, you got to worry about getting shot. You got to worry about just someone random person wanting to fight you, getting jumped, getting robbed
Yeah,
down there. Like
yeah, yeah,
honestly, I went down to E6. I was at E6 right before I went to Buford's. It was a Tuesday. It's pretty scary. Like you're
Yeah,
you're watching your back like every minute. Like you're like, who's like someone gonna be get in
yeah.
my car? Someone
No,
gonna.
yeah, I know. I mean, that danger has always been there, but I feel like it's always been reasonably manageable. But I think in the past few months, it's just not been manageable at all, especially during Corona. But now that we're coming out of it, you'd hope to see it kind of level out a little bit more, but it just hasn't, which is pretty nuts. And it really makes you think where we're headed. It's interesting. Hopefully somewhere good. Hopefully it's just a thing that hopefully it'll kick us in the ass and get us going in the right direction again. That's what I say.
Um, is Sixth Street more violent now than it was before COVID?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think that I've been talking to some of my friends just all over the country. I feel like it's a little bit more dangerous. I think higher crime rates have just I think America has just had higher crime rates recently, and I think it's everybody coming back, and I think that it's also just a little bit about, you know, kind of gun culture, pop culture. The mix between the two is just it creates this distorted reality where people don't really have a good value of human life. Um, and I also think that, with how much Austin has grown, even during Corona, uh, it's becoming more of a metropolis. And when that happens, there's probably going to be a gang in Austin, or gangs that are going to start crime. And I think that it's just a side effect of growth that we can't necessarily sustain.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm actually new to Austin. I've probably been here 8 months. I've been to Sixth Street. I would say at least one time with a group of friends, and it was
Mhm.
probably like 2 years before COVID. It was pretty crazy. Like
Yeah.
once the clubs let out, like
Yeah.
it's mayhem. Everyone's looking to fight. Everyone's talking shit.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Would you say Sixth Street's the most violent place in Texas?
Probably not. Um, you know, yeah, definitely not. And that night was honestly probably a bit different than most nights because those bikers were all in town and they looked like they were pretty scary people, some of them. uh Definitely didn't look like they were playing around, but in terms of like a public place where like everybody gathers, and I, I I think you could say that that might be true, that Austin or Sixth Street is the most like dangerous gathering place in terms of people of all incomes, all colors come. And that's just something that we don't want to happen, where it's almost like a familial setting, so to speak. Uh, and there's just no safety there. And I don't know what it is, why everybody wants to try to fight somebody, but it's definitely not safe down there. Too many egos collide, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either, but definitely something that needs to be solved for sure.
West Sixth is a lot safer, though. I will
Well,
say.
yeah, which I don't understand because West Six is literally like maybe 7 blocks, 5 to 7 blocks. So like, I don't
Yeah.
understand like why like 7 blocks away it's gonna be a lot safer than.
Well, I feel like it's kind of because West Sixth they never really block off. Cars can drive through, whereas like East Sixth they block off the roads, and there's just so many places to gather. So I feel like it's just gonna, people are gonna pop off a lot more when they have when they're surrounded by opportunities to start conflict. Whereas on West Six, there's cops on all the corners. I mean, there is on East Six too, but it's more just like once you get out of the bar, you're either going straight into another bar or it's time to go home. Whereas you can kind of just loiter on East Six and not even go to a bar.
Will you be going back?
Not to East Six, no. I haven't been back to. I haven't been on to Sixth Street since the incident. It's definitely made me a lot more cautious, a lot more hesitant to really like go into crowded places, um, unless I'm with like a bunch of people I know or I know that the night is gonna be great. I don't see a reason to kind of you know test my fate, so to speak, because if you go there, it's a numbers game. I feel like if you go down there enough times, you're gonna eventually run into trouble because it's always there.
How would you describe it? So like trouble is always there. Like describe like without the shooting and with like just a normal night on Sixth on East Sixth.
It's just the entertainment industry in all honesty. It's just like you're going down there, you're gonna get drunk. I think a lot of people say that they like to play with fire, so to speak. Play with the devil, whatever it is. They go down there, they get drunk, and they try to forget about all of the everyday pains of life, but then it ends up creeping back in, and all of that aggression kind of comes out of them at one place. And there's a bunch of different aggressive alcoholics, and they're all looking to start something because they're, I guess, unsettled inside. And I think that it's just I think a lot of people go down there that are a little bit unsettled. I mean, obviously, that's for the regular goers. I mean, if it's just like people that are going down there every once in a while, having a good time, then it's something else. But if you go down there enough times, then you're definitely gonna see some shit. I just think that that's how it goes at any bar. I'd say.
Okay. This question's slightly different from the other ones. What's your thoughts on and it kind of goes with what's going on right now. Like what's your thoughts on the homeless people being downtown, the homeless people like setting up camps like all across the city? I know there's like two different sides. Like you have your side that like, okay, like, hey, these people have no place to go, which they don't. And then there's the other side, like this makes Austin one a little bit more trashier, and two,
Mm.
can set up for like more violence and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what answer there is to the homeless situation. In all honesty, hopefully get these people active and give them a reason to get off drugs. Give them those incentives too. I think that you definitely can't have people just camping wherever because it affects safety. It affects the community surrounding it. Like nobody really wants to walk around a homeless camp to go to a shop. Um, but I think that now that they don't really have anywhere to go, crime probably has risen because they're not really sure what to do, and they might even look to different methods of making money or finding housing or whatever. Um, but it's definitely a problem that needs to be solved. I know that, especially because I think a lot of people bust into Austin looking for a new start, and I think that for a lot of people, they just either slip back into it or it gets a lot crazier.
How long has this? So I'm new to Austin. How long has this been going on?
I don't know, man. A while. I feel like I've lived here for about 5 years. Um, but my parents, they've been here. I think that like in the 90s there was always a little bit of crime, but it wasn't anything like too bad, and it was a little bit more of a hippie vibe, and now it's a little bit more of just like just kind of sad, like burnouts, I think. Yeah, it's just a lot's changed. It's kind of turning into San Francisco or something that's not Austin
Yeah,
with a
I
lot of
agree. I
opportunity.
agree 100%. So what's your favorite bar here in Austin?
Bar?
Yeah, what's your favorite
Probably
bar?
Buford's. I like Buford's.
Buford. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I actually just went there last week, and it was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I haven't got to experience the nightlife on the weekends ever since I've been here. I've worked pretty much every week, actually every weekend, other than being
Yeah.
sick, one weekend. But so no, I definitely want to check out Buford's on the weekend for sure.